All right. Three,
Hello.
2, 1, live coffee chat.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I am very relaxed after a nice, lengthy vacation, trying not
Good.
to think about the vacation ending quite yet. So,
Understandable. And where are you right now?
right now I am in Plymouth, Mass, which is on Cape Cod. Excuse me, Cape Cod. I had to grab my coffee. Can I give a little plug? A
Sure.
little local plug. I stopped at Mary Lou's Coffee
Ooh, I
uh,
love that label.
for a chai this morning. And if you are on the Cape and you really love pink and real aromatic coffee, you're going to check out Mary Lou's on Route 3.
Okay.
Woo. So I am not a huge fan or very aromatic coffee. So I was in and out of there pretty quick, but the chai is pretty tasty.
Yeah, good.
Um,
Good.
But for those of you joining us, this is Coffee Chat. I'm Rachel. I'm here with Tara,
Hey.
and we are the founders of Steady State Network. And we get together on Fridays to talk rowing, coaching, and coxing, and everything else about rowing life. And
Okay.
let us know if you've got questions or comments.
I have two rowing updates. Number one, I taught my Learn to Row class last week. They were awesome. 10 people. We're going to take them out on the water tomorrow morning very early, and they'll be their first time on the water. Woo.
Excellent. How's everybody doing, or what was like kind of the excitement level the first couple days of class?
I think it was an interesting spectrum of people. There were fairly youngish 30s, parents of young children who their reasons for wanting to row were just adorable. Some of them were, um, I love the water. I'm looking for something to do on the water. I saw someone out in a single and I want to do that. To I rode 40 years ago at Western Washington University, 40,
Yeah,
40,
yeah.
when women's rowing was not women's rowing as we know it. Um, to I Googled older person low impact sport and rowing came up. That's what
Uh-huh.
she said. She Googled that and rowing came up, and so she's joined the class. She's in her 70s.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yes, yeah.
And you said next step is to get into the boats, and you get them into quads. Is that right?
Yeah, they'll be in quads and a double tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be a little bit of a shit show, I won't lie, but
Yeah.
they'll get a taste of it. I find it very, very difficult to coach sculling. So it'll be a really challenge for me. I just feel like they go in five different directions
Mm.
and you can't do a damn thing because they don't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
So I learned early on the first thing you teach them is how to stop and how to turn around.
Hmm.
And then you give them a very small defined course and you say you go to that, that, and that, and you do a little triangle
Yeah.
and you just stay in the middle and you just watch them go by.
Yeah.
And
I think
but
that's
what if the wind is up? I mean, there's all kinds of things that could go wrong.
yeah.
So
But that's smart though, to give them a path, give them points to hit, or not hit, but get to. Um, yeah, I'm thinking about learning to row, not just in a single or even a sweep boat, but being in a quad where you're kind of figuring out your own two oars and then dealing
right.
with three other people figuring out their two oars. But you know what? It's fun. And I actually think that's a wonderful way to build, um, teamwork and get that
Yeah.
little crew bonding. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Number two is US rowing, our favorite topic,
hmm
has finally wised up and partnered with somebody who actually gets things done and actually does it in a very productive way, and that's the Pocock Foundation. We had a recent episode with the Pocock Foundation's Zoe Vase on her program, or the program that she helps manage, called Camp Lucy, which is for female identified non-binary trans kids. And Hulla 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 Pocock So they finally wised up and they're doing a panel discussion of women rowers and coaches around Title IX.
And you've been asked to sit on this panel, haven't you?
And I will be on this panel. So
Yeah.
this is exciting. I think it's July 21st,
Okay.
maybe. I think July 21st is the date. Once I have the details, I'll send it out. But that's my big rowing update.
Well, that's excellent to hear about US rowing and GPRF, and definitely let us know the details. And I'll be sure to get that out on our socials, and everybody should check it out. Also, talking about US rowing, I was looking at one of their most recent emails, and they had last month put out a statement about venue selection and the reasons that
Mhm.
they choose the venues that they do. And there will be a US Rowing quarterly town hall to talk about venue selection. And I'm just going to pull up my email so I can tell everybody the right date. Tuesday, July 19th at 8 p.m. So if you are interested in hearing more about US Rowing's venue selection process and criteria, Tuesday, the 19th. And the reason that you and I are kind of interested in this, well, we've been interested in it for a long time, but it really has been kind of in the forefront for us the last month-ish,
Yeah.
because of US Rowing Masters Nationals this year, and contractually next year being held in Sarasota, Florida, and DC Strokes Rowing Club boycotting the event there. And that boy,
Lead I would say that they're leading the boycott
yes,
and taking charge, and that there's been 300 plus people, clubs, organizations that have come on board with them,
yeah.
which is so cool. And there's a byproduct that we can get to in a second that Willow Arts posted on Allies with Oars. So anyway,
Mhm.
sorry, go on.
No, no, that was basically what I was going to say is that DC Strokes stepped up in early June to boycott U.S. rowing events being hosted in this entire state of Florida because of their "Don't Say Gay" bill. And the boycott caught a lot of attention across the country and around the world. And like you just said, Tara, lots of people signed on to support. And DC Strokes had some conversations or a couple of conversations with US Rowing. And we were really
Right.
curious. I think last week when we were talking about this, we said, well, what happens next? What's the outcome? And so now we can answer. US Rowing has put together this venue selection statement and has provided that to the members. Also, very exciting. Boats Without Barriers, which is going to be hosted by East Bay Rowing Club in August,
Hmm.
right? So this is really exciting that East Bay Rowing Club not only joined the boycott, but they stepped up and said, we're going to offer an alternative to US Rowing Masters Nationals in
What are the
August.
dates? What are the dates of that? August what?
I believe it's just a one day, August 20th.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
They
it's so it's so easy for me to get to San Francisco, so I think it might be really fun to
I
go.
I'm really excited that you said that because I think I'm gonna try and get there.
Yeah, why not? I
Yeah,
mean, live coverage. Yeah, let's talk about that. That'd be really fun.
yeah.
Bup, 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 bup. Yeah, so it's again, we're seeing this theme over and over and over again. US rowing cute tees something up, drops the ball, doesn't quite hit the mark, and someone else scoops in and
Mhm.
does something and purely out of like, why not? Let's try it. And I'm of the major school of the sure, why not? Let's try it. Like
Yeah.
that's my favorite school of thought around getting shit done. And I think that it's just really exciting, that people feel the confidence and they feel they've got enough support around them to do these kinds of things. And that kind of support is building,
Mhm,
for independent efforts.
mhm.
I think they just haven't. Well, I wonder if US rowing sometimes feels like they put the pressure on themselves to be the be all end all and be the solution to everything because they're an NGO and they're supposed to do that. It's like bad parenting, like they just think they're supposed to be this one thing. when actually their skill set is just really not there, and their
Yeah.
resources are not there, and so other people step in and
Yeah.
fulfill those roles for people. So
Yeah, I think what we've been
yeah.
seeing over the last couple years with US rowing, and I wanna be really clear, I've been a member of US Rowing for the last 20 some odd years. I support
Yeah, me
US
too,
Rowing.
me too.
Um,
Happily a
yeah,
member.
and what it seems to me over the last handful of years is that it's going through growing pains. US Rowing really was to be, the national governing body for the sport and set rules, but really was predominantly there for the national team. And now you've got masters rowers really pushing for leadership, and not just pushing for leadership in terms of putting together great regattas, but leadership in terms of inclusivity and all sorts of things. And so they're trying to figure that out. And like you said
Right.
earlier, this is going to be a good step working, partnering with GPRF for this upcoming panel on women in rowing. And they're coming together. They have started to work with some other small businesses and organizations to give us what we're looking for.
Yeah, and here's the thing is I don't think it wasn't until recently that we even wanted these things from
Yeah,
US Rowing,
yeah,
right? Like we didn't even want these kinds of
yeah,
things. So a shout out to all the people who have created, manifested demands, needs, and then have turned to their NGB and been like, hey, you should be able to do this. I don't know that it's precedented, with any other NGBs, but um, they must talk to each other,
mhm,
like
mm,
triathlon and cycling and swimming and gymnastics. They must all talk to each other, at
yeah.
some point.
So, one last thing about U.S. rowing, I was reading in their in an email is that they have. So last month they announced during Pride Month a whole new collection of Pride gear, and they have extended their partnership with the Trevor Project. So it was originally through the month of June that a certain percentage of sales of the Pride collection was going to support the Trevor Project, and they just announced that that is going to be a partnership throughout the rest of the year. So U.S. Rowing put it in terms of extending their dedication to the LGBT community, and so they are working on it. They are definitely working on it.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
really great. Giving them props for trying for sure.
yeah,
Um, so your rowing week, you haven't been rowing, but you've been moving around quite a bit. You've
yeah.
been out and about
I have.
on the northeast tip of the US, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So back on July 5th, rolled out of DC and made my way up to Maine with my husband and my dog. And we have basically been outdoors ever since. We've been hiking and camping and eating our way through Maine.
Nice,
and
nice.
it's been a lot of fun. We've got a lot of fresh air and a lot of sunshine. I have not rode at all. I did a bunch of hiking, but kind of accidentally stumbled upon and found on Mount Desert Island in basically it's Acadia Park up in Maine, the Down East Rowing Club. No
Ooh,
idea that it was there. And we were just driving along. I'm like, there are a couple of boats like sitting over there next to the woods. And I pulled in, and they have a couple of small racks. I think they're total of maybe 12 singles, if that
yeah,
many, just
yeah.
on these little wooden racks sitting out there. And you pick up your boat and you got to walk it across the street down to this little beach. And then it is this glorious, glorious lake over there. And so now I know someday if we end up with a house up in Maine, oh, that's a whole other story. We love it there. We love, love,
I
love
love
it there.
Maine. I love Maine. I was there
Yeah.
for about 5 days after Heather Charles one time, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What the hell
Yeah.
is up
It's
with Maine? It's
gorgeous.
amazing."
Gorgeous. And especially
So
up around Acadia National Park. It's just mind blowingly beautiful.
yeah, I was in Portland, Maine, and then I traveled, a little bit outside of Portland and just, tootled around, with my friend who I was staying with. Um, I agree, and here's the challenge, if you're a club and we should put this out, if you're a
Mhm.
club that fits that description, you have outdoor racks
Yeah.
and there's a bit of like ninja work to get your boats on the water, we want to hear from you. So I know of that same club on Salt Spring Island in Canada. Stacy Mitchell is the head of that, and it's on someone's private land on this absolutely gorgeous lake,
Yeah.
no motor traffic, and it's literally like 3 racks of small boats, and they it's just fantastic. So
Mhm.
if, I would love to add one of those kinds of clubs to our club spotlight. I think that would be amazing.
Yes, that is a fantastic idea. I think that we should. I'm really curious. Yeah, my sense is that's like down east might be where people keep their boats and then they just head out whenever
Right,
they can.
right.
You know what else I saw? We were driving around Mount Desert Island and kind of in the middle of nowhere, on somebody's mailbox on the road, and then they had a post sticking up, and at the top of the post was a national team blade, a U.S. rowing national team blade. So now I'm gonna have to do
Wow.
some sleuthing and figure
Did
out
you not
who
you didn't knock on their door?
I didn't. I was so tempted.
I
So,
would.
I'm gonna have to do some sleuthing and ask around and see if I can figure out who associated with the national team has a place on Mount Desert Island. Um,
Yeah.
no rowing for me since the 5th, but I am looking forward to getting home, getting back on my erg, maybe possibly getting in a boat because if I really can get myself out to Oakland for East Bay's Boats Without Barriers, I wanna get in a boat and row out there.
Heck
So
yeah.
but I have not rowed lately, so I need to
Yeah, me neither.
at least a few weeks of, getting back into shape.
So we had a meeting the other night. I unfortunately could not attend it, but we actually had a meeting for the Vashon Rowing Club about Head of the Charles. They gauged interest in a women's eight, and there was enough interest to have a meeting
Mhm.
and about that and another boat. And I'm like, that is bananas. Like literally, none of us have been in a sweet boat since
Yeah,
November 2019,
yeah.
potentially. And it's July.
Right.
That is going to be one of the hardest rows. It's going to be awesome.
So
But
I have a question. I don't know if I'm not sure if I asked you this before. So I know Vashon is a small island with a small rowing club, and that mostly folks go out in small boats. But how many people would you say are members of Vashon Rowing?
maybe 40
Okay.
adults,
That's actually more than I
maybe
thought you were gonna say.
maybe like yeah, 40 adults maybe and like 30 kids.
Okay.
But there's enough women who have raced the Charles that are interested in racing the Charles.
Yeah.
Um, the the caveat is that so this is very familiar to a lot of people in the masters world where the coach that you have is somewhere between 19 and 25 years old, because they have the flexibility to be your coach and they can get paid whatever your club can pay them. But the downside to that is that they're working with people who could be their parents or grandparents, and there's a little bit of a communication thing sometimes. And also, just their own rowing expertise is not
Mhm.
as seasoned.
Mhm.
So, the caveat I heard was that if the women's eight goes, that we want the head coach, which is this guy named Ben, who's been around for a very long time and been coaching for a very long time, to take on that as a project
Sure.
and really dedicate his time to that. So,
Mhm.
I'm sure people can relate to that. You really want a dedicated person. If you have an eight already set, I was in a club before where the eight didn't get set until after Labor Day.
Mhm.
So you either bought your ticket in January and hoped for the best, or and then switched it if you didn't get into the boat, or you were set, you
Yeah.
know. But so we did seat racing.
Yeah. That's what I've always been a part of is not knowing until I mean, definitely you get through the entire sprint season and then through most of fall season, and it's yeah, like you said, you buy your tickets earlier in the year hoping you might go, but you really have no idea. With things really not being set until a few weeks out. But for you all, if you get together in eight, what's great is, I mean, you're right. You have not been rowing together as a team for months, but you have July, August, September, October. You got almost 4 months to, if you can get a good solid schedule in training.
Right. But this type of club, this
Mm,
club does not
mm,
do that.
yeah.
This club will not go into any sort of high gear. They will put together the 8. They will, oh, I can't make this one. I can't do this one. I can't do this one. Da, 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 da. It'll go like that all the way to the Charles, right? And then what they do is they put their blinders on, they put their head down, and they fucking grit their teeth and they grind it out and they come in like 10th place. It boggles my mind. It boggles my mind because I'm used to like 3 days a week plus 2 extra practice days plus cross training, as a group, and you bond and you do this whole thing. And for me, it just kind of doesn't build the trust that's
Mm,
necessary in a
yeah,
great boat experience. But
yeah.
but you and I need to decide whether Steady State is going to the Charles and
We
doing
do.
a mixed 8 on Sunday.
Yes, if that's right, we need to revisit that conversation because I know for sure that has already opened up that, and I don't know when the deadline is, to get in not championship, what's it called?
Director's Cup,
Directors Challenge. Yeah.
Director's Challenge.
Yeah.
So I think we should put out a call to our listenership and see if you're interested, let us know and see if there's, if there's 2 people interested, then let's not talk about it. But if there's like 12, then
Yeah.
yes, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have a little bit better experience in the racing portion than we did at Masters Nationals, which
Yes.
was lovely. It was lovely, but
Yeah, so
yeah.
we put out a call last summer, to see if, folks would be interested in rowing a mixed Masters 8 and Masters Nationals last year in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and we got folks from, really across the country to join us there, and, it was a big mishmash of rowers and experience levels, and, we caught someone in the boat, caught a crab about 7 strokes in,
Mhm.
but got out of it and finished the piece pretty darn fast. And we had the opportunity to row a very nice Hudson. That was amazing. So yeah, for Boston, if we could
WinTech.
get together, oh, it was a Wintech.
Hmm. It was WinTech because it was the King Racing guys.
Oh, you are correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, if we could do something similar in Boston, put together a Rolodex type of crew, that might be more of a challenge because, like you were saying, for Head of the Charles, that's a big one, and people really, really want to know that they're getting into it with a crew that they're really comfortable with and that's solid and trained up. But if we could sell it as a, hey, we're doing this for fun to get down the course, maybe we can get some folks to join us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, might be 2 races in one weekend for some people, like, if I
Mm,
end up racing 8, and so
mhm,
I think there's a lot of people do that. A lot of people
mm,
do the double racing with the Directors' Cups, because you can. That's the only situation where you can do that. But the
mhm,
nice thing is that, I think you can still take the boat out on Friday. There's still the
mhm.
opportunity to take boats out on Friday. Um, but, yeah, that'd be a little bit of coordination on our part, but that'd be fun.
So Tara, Willow is here with us, and Rachel
Hey,
Lucas is here
Willow.
with us, and they're both saying well, Willow says, I'm super interested in rowing with us in Boston. And Rachel says, I've never learned to sweep, or else she'd be all in. So maybe we do put out a wider call and see what we can find. But Willow and Rachel, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you're having a good week. And let us know what's going on where you are. I heard from Rachel about Head of the Hooch, and she kindly invited me to hang out with her if I head down to the Hooch this year, and kind of get an insider local perspective on the scene there. So I'm definitely going to be in touch with Rachel because I haven't been to the Hooch, but really want to go this year. And so this might be a good kick in the pants to get me down there.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, there's a great regatta happening
Yeah,
here this
great regatta.
weekend, called Cascadia. It's my favorite regatta of the entire Northwest, and it's happening this weekend. So kudos and good luck to everybody going to that regatta.
Yep. All right, Tara, I think I need to get running, But it's always
Okay, me
awesome
too.
to catch up with you. Always awesome to catch up with you on Fridays. I love coffee chat, and I love when people join us. So before we go, we just got to say one big thanks to Concept 2 and Lake Washington Rowing Club, who have signed on as sponsors of Steady State Network, Coffee Chat, and Steady State podcasts. So we're super thankful to them.
Yep.
And we will be back next Friday. I will be home this weekend, really back into the groove of things, back to coaching and rowing. And God, the sky is gorgeous blue where you are, Tara. That is fantastic.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, have yourself a great weekend. Good time coaching your learn to row. Can't
Thank
wait to hear
you.
about it.
Safe travels.
Thank you. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Bye.